Hello and welcome to Be in Conversation. I'm Ken Wee, Senior VP for Partnerships and Innovations at Bridge Alliance. Be in Conversation is a platform we created to have conversations with Bridge ecosystem partners, which includes enterprise customers, technology partners, and Bridge member operators to drive deep collaboration and propel the industry forward. In today's Be in Conversation, my guest is Ananth Siva. He is the CEO of Movius. The topic of our conversation is secure business communication tools for customer engagement. Before we begin, let's watch a short video.
Your client's demand for convenient digital conversations is at an all-time high. As we shift to a more mobile work-from-anywhere world, companies must equip their teams to communicate conveniently too. But if regulations to monitor client conversations are only tightening, how does your business find a balance between productivity, cost-cutting, and compliance? Trusted by leading global banks and enterprises, Movius Multiline is a mobile, unified communication service that integrates messaging, voice, and compliance into enterprise workflows and systems. Multiline separates business from personal by unifying all client conversations through a single convenient user experience on any device or carrier. Now your employees can communicate easily to meet their clients' needs anytime, anywhere. Manage employees' mobile numbers as simply as email addresses and ensure compliant communications even when employees work remotely. Bridge your transition to more cost-efficient mobile strategies like BYOD and retiring outdated technologies. Multiline's automatic communication capture ensures centralized storage of conversations for surveillance and reporting, eliminating data silos and simplifying compliance. And by integrating with your CRM and other applications, you can unlock the content of those conversations and gain valuable insights into mobile client interactions. Our service is easy to use, with rapid onboarding and secure high-quality service for your globally dispersed workforce, with no extra hardware requirements. Multiline is the mobile-first, software-only approach to productive, compliant client communications. Let Movius empower your employees to transform the way you serve your clients. Contact us to learn more.
Hi Ananth, thank you for joining me today.
Hello Ken, real pleasure.
What are the critical problems in communications are you solving for your customers?
Ken, it's so topical today. You pick up any newspaper, you pick up any magazine, you pick up any online channel, you turn on to any television, media, whatever. Everywhere there's a lot of talk about communication and how businesses are confronting the new paradigms of communication, which have all been brought about by the rapid digitization over the last 18 months or so, ever since we've been unfortunately stuck in this pandemic. But what it has done is opened up a lot of new opportunities for businesses, but at the same time, it has taken away a lot of the traditional business communication channels and put them in the hands of its employees who are no longer in the environment they used to be. Voice, messaging, video, all of these have just exploded, as you can see. And that has caused a lot of constraint and strain on businesses because the traditional way of managing these assets and these channels are no longer possible because even the customers have now gotten used to it, that they want to interact in an omni-channel way. So we at Movius have been very busy working with our customers in being able to provide a very secure path to all their communications that we address as it relates to voice, as it relates to messaging, as it relates to enterprise application access, so that our customers are able to better serve their customers who are all looking at the enterprise to meet them in the channel of their choice. Now you can see that businesses in the past have typically managed these channels through policy. They said you shall not do this, and there are always a long list of things that businesses have mandated their employees not to do. What has now become clear over the last 18 months is that cannot operate, because if you turn off a channel, or if you ask your employees not to interact with their customers in the channel of the customer and consumer's choice, customers then begin to start changing their loyalty and will leave businesses. And so businesses are wrestling with this. So we've been fortunate that with some of the leading industry customers that we have across financial services, healthcare, and other industries, we've been able to bring secure communication across all channels. And what's also interesting is customers may start in one channel and go to the other. They do not want to remember multiple identities of the person in the enterprise that they're interacting with. So what's also become critical to us is that this whole notion of single number reach becoming a critical identifier of enterprise assets. So the customers are able to interact with the person no matter which channel they come across. They don't want to remember each one of the personas. So we at Movius, because we work very strongly with all our carrier partners, have been able to leverage the infrastructure that the carriers bring in terms of that number as becoming the sacred way that we're able to tie down the positions, not the person, and thereby allow enterprises to be able to better leverage what is today modern communication platforms, rather than try and combat that or deny their employees from being able to interact with customers in the channel of their choice.
We know that social media has become part of everyday life, and they have enabled communications for both personal and business use. How can enterprises, especially those within the regulated industries, such as financial services and healthcare, leverage this channel to improve how they service their clients?
Actually, Ken, if you just Google it, you will see just in the last several weeks, major financial institutions have sent out some very critical communication to their employees, and it's all in the press. So nothing I'm telling you is not in the public domain out there. And you can see it all ties back to employees using, this is what we call the shadow IT concept, because shadow IT is really employees bringing their own personal devices to the workplace, employees using their own alternate channels of communication for conducting business. And social media and others have actually accelerated consumers' adoption and acceptance of that channel as a very good way, because that's where your consumers are. So for enterprises to reach their consumers, you have to embrace these channels. And fortunately for us, we over the last few years have been investing very heavily in this space, because we recognize that those social channels are a complementary strategy. It does not take away the reliance on voice or video or other channels inside the business, but they bring a very good new dimension, because consumers are omni-channel serviceable if only enterprises can embrace technology. And we have built very, very key pieces of secure communication. We have securitized in a way those social channels to become corporate compliant. And that's what allows our customers to be able to serve their consumers in the channel of their choice and not have to combat it. And we see this accelerating. In fact, it's proliferating in multiple fronts. And we see that what we have built today and what we're delivering to our markets are very critical as we go forward in this. And again, more and more endpoints are coming out, right? I mean, if you look at it today, what we had 2 years ago and what we have today as endpoints have rapidly changed. And the other big thing that's changing is there are more and more endpoints, like the proliferation of IoT devices now everywhere around society. Many of them are becoming endpoint access points. I mean, when you have Alexa at home and others, you don't think about it, but that really is an endpoint in many ways, right? So social is here to stay. Enterprises need to embrace it. And we are working furiously to make sure that we keep the enterprise ahead so they can win in the marketplace.
I recently read that Movius was awarded a new patent in IoT space. Can you tell us more?
Yeah. Actually, Ken, that's one of the, we're very proud of it. And we're very humbled and honored because years of innovation went into this, working with our key carrier partners in being able to get that. See, IoT devices are going everywhere, but if you look at the first generation of IoT devices out there, predominantly a lot of devices proliferating in the marketplace. They're tied to networks, and predominantly some of them have voice capability. We know that voice has been, elevated with the proliferation of things like Google Home, Siri. It's training a lot of consumers to recognize that it's a very logical way to interact with devices. We were fortunate that our innovation allowed us to be able to very successfully get a patent around being able to be device, put IoT, a voice enable any IoT device and make it carrier agnostic, but also use very ultra low bandwidth and operate on 5G, Wi-Fi, or any other network and not be tied to the network, right? Think about the possibilities here. Today, when businesses looked at putting out remote devices, you often think about, gosh, that's going to be an expensive outcome. Yet there are some IoT devices that are coming out. If it had voice enablement, like it has a speaker and a microphone, on very low bandwidth, the Movius software solution today allows that device to be both mono or bidirectional and deliver significant value. And if you look at industries like logistics, healthcare, financial services, and others, a lot of devices need to be put out there. And many businesses are unable to do that because it's very prohibitive to put an expensive device out there. We have been able to now optimize the very critical piece of bidirectional voice and bring it into those low-powered devices that are going to power the networks of the future, which all our carrier partners are investing very heavily in, and businesses are investing, and bring it out. So we're very excited. It's a game changer in many ways and brings to life a very, very rich experience and solve everyday consumer problems in a way that was probably not been possible before.
So what's next on the horizon for Movius? Where do you see the communication landscape shifting?
We're seeing more and more of convergence of some of these critical aspects. Voice is not going away, it's here to stay. Messaging is exploding right now, and that'll continue to happen. But ultimately, it comes down to the consumer. Right? Look at the end consumer standpoint. They want fast, efficient ways to get seamless experience with the companies they interact with. And this has been done in many, many industries before, in many parts of your business before, through the word called omni-channel. We see that this omni-channel endpoint management is going to become very critical. But businesses, for them to succeed, is going to need some intelligent smarts. AI is very big. So we are very heavily vested there. There's going to be a lot of messaging that's going to be not just the way we see it today, but there's going to be some very smart messaging, and we're investing in those areas. We know voice is exploding, as we talked about, and continuously with things like the IoT patent that we've just got secured and others that are in the works. We are in a very, very good position to take advantage of existing investment that companies have made to be able to take advantage of what they've invested in and take it into a new world without, you can't just rip and replace everything. So we are recognizing that, and to all our customers, we're adding significant value by trying to maximize their existing investment as well as taking advantage of new opportunities in all of these areas, whether it be IoT, AI, traditional voice, messaging, enterprise application, single number reach across. And that's the key thing, is the more you bring identity management across a lot of these layers, you automatically have better security, better recognition, of what value we can extract. And that's where we're investing a lot of our resources. We see the future.
Ananth, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Ken. It's a real pleasure always talk with you.